Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you for joining me today. I've got some more cards to show you today, inspired again by our lovely retreat weekend that we had, where we all got together and crafted. And today I'm going to be not recreating as such, but using one of the cards that we made over that weekend as inspiration for what I'm going to show you today. This was a card that Kaye from Papercraft Skies shared with us, all using Pool Party, very monochromatic with the white and everything. So this is what we did. And we're going to be using loads of punches, okay, to create the card today, which are quick, easy. It's really fab. On the day when we were doing this, it was actually really funny just to hear that crunch all around the room of all these punches going when we were making the cards, which I thought was quite amusing. So this is what we're doing. So this was all in Pool Party. We've got the flowers and leaves punch. We've got the bow punch. We're also going to use the triple corner one. I don't know exactly what that's called, but we're going to be using that one as well. And then I'm going to swap out the sentiment and use one from the coordinating stamp set. This one was from Peaceful Moments and fitted into this Label Me Fancy. We're going to switch that out for the double oval. But the sort of, this is what has inspired me creating the card today, along with the Creative Colour Challenge for this week, which is Blushing Bride, Soft Succulent and Soft Seafoam. So the colour palette is very similar to a card I've done earlier in the week, actually. It's just a different pink. So obviously you could use those other colours as well, but the Blushing Bride is a very sort of much more muted pink. It's not as in your face as Polished Pink, which is the pink that I used earlier in the week. So like I say, Flowers of Friendship, that's the stamp set that coordinates with the punch. And I'm going to bring in Watercolour Shapes, which is what is featured in the background here, just to add something there, just for a little bit of added interest. So we'll just pop those to one side, and yeah, we'll get cracking. So I'll just pop that over there. So cardstock wise, I am sticking with the Blushing Bride card. But I think I'm going to see if we can cut the corners on that card base to match the layer. So I'm just going to open that out. It's not going to punch through both, at least I don't think it would anyway. And I'm going to punch the corner going in this way. This corner here actually punches two different designs. So there's a curve there and there's a square sort of shape there. So if you just go round clockwise like you might do normally with a corner punch, you aren't going to get a symmetrical look to it, okay? Then we've got the cute ribbon, sort of ribbon slidery thing, and then we can just take the corner off, which is what I did on this sample. Instead of using the decorative corner, I used that to sort of create that, that will be a octagon, yes. Okay, but you see with the corner, if I'd have turned it round, we'd have had the curve that way. It'd look like that, as opposed to that. Okay. So just don't be fooled. It's like, oh, why has it come out wonky? That would be why. So I want the sort of square edge to be at the bottom, so I'm going in this way. Punch, and then to get that mirrored you need to flip the cardstock and go in at the same angle. Okay, normally we would just do that and that. Well, if you do that you'll get a different corner. Flip it and go in from the same position that you went in before. Okay, and then you'll get a symmetrical corner. Okay, hope that made sense. Hope that made sense. Okay, so like I say, that means we get this decorative front on our card. Just thinking whether we should just do the back anyway, just to match. Yeah, let's do that. So go in the same way that I did on the front. Flip it and go in the same way again. Okay, cool. So now we've got a nice decorative element to our card base as well. So while we're here, we're going to stamp a card panel. This is a full-sized card panel, so that's going to be 4 by 5 3/4. Flip it. Just use those little nubby things to make sure it's straight. Okay, so now I want to do the other end. Go in the same way. Flip it in the same way. There we go. So now we've got a layer that will go on top of that, and we'll have a cute little border there as well. Isn't that adorable? Okay, that's cute. Alright, it's a shame won't be able to get through 2 pieces of cardstock, so that's a bit of a shame, but isn't that lovely? Okay, so there we go. That's our base and things done. So just going to bring in just a bit of scrap watercolour shapes. Just going to bring in the circle because it's already mounted up, and just to sort of, you know how I like to sort of just, you know, invert and swap around with the colours and things like that. So I thought, let's see what happens if we do the soft succulent. Now, soft succulent is going to be way darker than the soft sea foam that I used on the background of the other one, and it's a much wetter ink pad as well. So, you know, it's going to be darker. It might look good. So let's just go with it. It'll be fine. If you don't try, you'll never know. Now, these stamps are not designed to give you a nice solid shape. They are watercolour shapes, so you will get this sort of splodgy look. That's intentional. That is the way the stamp is designed. Okay, so don't freak out when you have that going on. Okay, so we've got that to start off with. We then want to punch out some flowers. I'm going to have this sample in front of me, otherwise I'm going to start losing track of where I am. Okay, stamp out some flowers. So the stamp set's got the 2 flowers in, and I've mounted them on the block deliberately in this orientation because that's the way the punch works. Okay, all right, and we're going to have to spread them out a little bit as well, again because of the way the stamp works. Now, Kaye was showing us or encouraging us to use our ink daubers as well, so we're going to be using some of that as well. You don't have to put your finger inside it if you don't want to, but it's like a little sponge on a little handle there that you can press into the ink pad to apply ink to your cardstock. So what I'm going to do is use the stamps first. Like I say, I'm going to be spreading these out, and that's intentional. I haven't lost the plot. Okay, put one there, and put one there, and there'll be room on the end hopefully for my sentiment. Okay, and I'm just going to use the teeniest bit of ink. Where's my scrap paper gone? Okay, and I'm just going to sort of make sure that that's, ooh, squeaky. They squeak a bit if they're a bit dry, so I just don't, because I don't want to overpower the line art. So okay, but what that does is it allows you to, oh, did you even see that? Was I down there? Oh, sorry. Just popped a bit of ink on there, so you get this sort of diffuse look to it. I'm also going to add some Wink of Stella because, you know, it's Wink of Stella. And some glittery, sparkly flowers is always good, right? With darker ink, you would see some of that colour pulling in a little bit, but with these lighter inks, you wouldn't necessarily see that. So if this was, what do you call it, Blackberry Bliss or something like that, you'd probably find that the ink from the lines bled into the image. Now that might be a look that you want, and it also might not be, so it's just an FYI that will happen, because they are both water-based products. Okay, and that will give you this lovely sparkly flower, and then we can use the punch. I've got like a little domino effect of punches. It's all going to go crashing down. If you hear this great big bang, that'll be what it is. I've knocked them over. So we can easily line this up with the punch. The flower is symmetrical, so it doesn't matter which way you stamp it, as long as it's in that sort of cross as opposed to an X, if that makes sense. Orientation, it's going to be fine. And we're going to do this one. See how close that leaf is to that image. So that's why you have to spread them apart. Otherwise, you punch into your other stamped images. And then the other one. So we're doing 3 because 3 is the magic number, right? As I say so often. But it seems to get the result, so I'm sticking with it. So I'm just going to tear off that excess just so that we can use that for a second to do something else. So I'll pop all that away. So you know me, and I like to shape my flowers, so I'm just going to grab my handy dandy tool that I have. If you haven't got a tool, it doesn't matter, you can use the end of a pen, whatever, just some kind of rounded tool that will just give you some shape to your little flowers. So we'll just pop those to one side, ready to stick down. And while we've got this little scrap of paper, that's what we're going to do our sentiment on, or stamp our sentiment on. That would be better English, wouldn't it? So we'll bring in the soft succulent. I forgot the name of the colour then. Oh, did you hear my brain empty as I was talking? Light tapping again. So obviously soft succulent is the darker of the colour, so that's going to be okay for our sentiment. You know, the light colours like soft sea foam and blushing bride aren't generally great for sentiments, in my opinion. I think, you know, you need something a little darker. So if it was a different colour combination, I might have been bringing in some black to do that. So just using that double oval there just to line that up in the punch. So we're trying to economise our cardstock. So on that strip there, I haven't wasted much at all, which is also fab. So that's our sentiment ready, and I'm even going to just pop my couple of dimensionals on the back of that, ready for when we need that. So that's there. These punch bits and bobs. Ooh, you're supposed to get it in the bin, not on the floor. Right, and then all we need to do is punch out some like foliage. Where are my scraps? There they are. I've pulled out scraps of both the soft succulent and the soft sea foam. So I figured with the darker circle here, maybe using the lighter colour for the larger leaves would sort of make that pop a little bit. So that was my thinking. So let's do that. And again, the nature of the punch means that we're going to end up with the little sprigs as well, which is fine. We can leave those for another project unless we decide to use them like this. So again, you want to sort of move the punch around so that you're trying to maximise your cardstock. Maybe at an angle like that, as close to the edges as possible. Okay. You want to make sure that, you see how there's a little, see, you want to make sure that there's no sort of bits that have got caught in there as you've gone through. And then let's do one down here. So we've got 3 each of those. Don't know whether we're using the little ones yet, but we can always decide that later. And then I want some of these little ones, so I'm able to just put that in partially for that. So let's just have some of those little ones. Now I might punch 5 of those. I don't know exactly how many I might want, so probably better to have too many than too few. So we'll just do 5 of those, I think. And we can always save the others for something else. And that's it. We're going to do some assembly then. Okay, so that's all very delicately punched out. So we'll just have those. There we go then. So all we need to now is put all that together then. Alright, so a bit of seal will do this bit. That'll be easy peasy. Just line it up like you would anything else. Voila. We're going to burnish that. Okay, and I'll tell you what else Kaye did, which was really cool. She used the negative of the punch to do a little bit of stenciling, which I thought was ace. Now I know this is pink, but I reckon this will look kind of nice in the background, squeaking away. It's going to be super subtle. But just to add a little bit of something to the background. Which I thought was a really clever idea. Now, can you see that? It's so subtle, but I think that's really pretty. So that's a good tip, to use your negative of your punches as a stencil. Okay, so that's something else for you to take away from that, which I thought was cool. So I find it easier with this kind of thing, rather than wrestling to try and fit your sentiment in around flowers that you've already put in. If you put your sentiment in where you want it, you can then build your flowers around it. So I'm going to pop that there, and hopefully that's something like straight. And then we can use our wet glue to build up our card. So I'm going to go with the flowers first. The wet glue is going to be cool because we can pop that down and then sort of give them a bit of a wriggle around and stuff, and if necessary lift them a little to help us position the foliage elements. So we've got our little trio of flowers there. Then we've got our nice light green leaves. This is soft sea foam, so that's going to come off that darker circle. So I thought I'd just try and give you different sort of colour options. So I think we'll tuck that one in a little bit under there. Just the merest bit of glue, and I'm not going all the way to the end because then they're sort of a bit, you know, they sort of come off the card a little bit, which I think adds a little bit more texture. So like I say, we can just, before that glue sets, we've just got a chance just to lift them and put the stalks underneath and stuff and make it look pretty. Oops, not that pretty though, just sort of interlock them a little bit without obscuring our sentiments. Okay, so you know, sometimes less is more, so you know, this is entirely up to you how much of this you want to do. Some people don't like too much fuss on their cards, but you know, clean and simple. Is lovely too. So just little dabs of glue. Just using this little pokey tool thing that I've got to help me just press those into place. Okay. And then we'll add some sparklies as well to the centres. So don't worry if it's just a bit of glue sort of squidging out the side there, but it dries clear, this stuff. So but you only need a little teeny tiny bit to can you see that? You only need a tiny bit. Like I say, it does dry clear if you're concerned about that. Okay. Just pop that one right the way in. There we go. Super. Okay. So like I say, you stop at the point that you think it's done. Everyone will have a slightly different take on that. You do you. Okay, and then these, the basic rhinestones are great. The medium ones are perfect for the smaller flower. This would be true for the champagne rhinestones, the iridescent ones, I think the same size as well. So, like I say, medium ones fit beautifully in the smaller flower, and the larger ones fit beautifully in the larger one, she says, if it doesn't stick to her hand. Another thing this thing's good for, substituting your finger for... Okay, right, I think we're done. Cool. Like it. Like it. So, we started off with this, which we made on our retreat, which is sort of very monochromatic, with some sponging and stuff. But I really liked, you know, the way we used all those punches together like that. I made a sample with the Creative Colour Challenge palette, which was soft succulent, soft sea foam and blushing bride. Really nice combination. And then I've sort of gone again, mixing the colours a little bit, doing a bit of stenciling and adding this wonderful decorative corner on the bottom as well. So there you have it, guys. That's today's video for you. I hope you've enjoyed that. I'd love to know if you've been inspired by that, and of course I'd love to see what you make. Thanks so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I really love all the support I get on this channel from you guys. You know who you are, and I hope you're staying safe, keeping well. Take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye.